As much as we all like to believe nothing terrible will ever happen to us, the truth is, we can never be really sure. We lock our doors, we stay aware of our surroundings, we take every precaution we're taught, especially women. But at the end of the day, there's only so much we can control. We can control our actions, but not the actions of others. And sometimes, the very person planning to kill us is already watching and waiting while we go about our lives completely unaware that our time is almost up. An eerie reminder that death is always creeping behind every corner. But that's the terrifying reality. Death doesn't always come in some random accident or freak twist of fate like they do in the movies. Sometimes it's calculated, personal. What if your killer was someone you knew, or worse, someone you had never noticed, but they noticed you? For the most part, we don't know how our life will pan out until it does, and that includes death. And for one Georgia woman, young, bright, and full of life, her worst fear was hiding in plain sight, literally lurking in the shadows of her apartment, stalking the one place you should feel safe the most. Her gut told her something was off about her neighbor, but what do you do when that uneasy feeling isn't enough to run? After all, nothing bad had happened yet. In the end, her kindness was met with cruelty, and the man she suspected, he knew far more than he let on, and the whole world would soon see it. In this episode, I'll take you behind the headlines of Lauren Giddings, a woman with everything to live for until the moment it was all taken away. Lauren Teresa Giddings was born on April 18, 1984, in Tacoma Park, Maryland, to her parents, Will and Karen. She had two younger sisters, Caitlin and Sarah. Lauren was the definition of an all-American girl, beautiful inside and out. She lit up every room she walked into, known for her kindness, infectious smile, and the way she made everyone feel loved and appreciated. If anyone radiated happiness and sunshine, it was Lauren. She grew up in Laurel, Maryland, deep-rooted in her Catholic faith. She attended St. Mary of the Mills Catholic Church and Catholic school through 8th grade. Her relationship with God was always central in her life. Lauren was more than just brains and beauty. She was an athlete, playing field hockey and softball at Atholton High School. After graduating in 2002, she headed to Agnes Scott College in Georgia, a small private women's school known as one of the Seven Sisters of the South. There, Lauren studied political science and religious studies, played softball, and stayed true to her faith. Lauren was the first person in her family to go to college, and her family was always so proud of all of her accomplishments. After college, Lauren worked in Washington, D.C. at the National Center for Public Policy. But public policy wasn't enough. She craved something bigger. She wanted to help people, to make a difference. Passionate, driven, and full of heart, Lauren had dreams of becoming a lawyer, someone who could stand up for others and fight for what was right. She told her family and friends that she wanted to work in criminal defense. She wanted to be a voice for those who needed it most. In 2007, Lauren met someone who shared her passion for law and justice, David Vandiver. The two crossed paths when Lauren landed an internship as a project assistant at a downtown Atlanta law firm where David worked. He vividly remembered their first encounter. He was in the break room watching ESPN while Lauren walked in. They exchanged small talk, bonding over their ties to the DMV. Lauren was from Maryland, while David had attended Georgetown University in DC. Weeks passed before their paths crossed again, this time at a golf tournament, honoring a colleague who had recently passed away from cancer. That night, something clicked. From that moment on, they were inseparable and began dating. So in 2008, she moved back to Georgia to attend Mercer University's Walter F. George School of Law in Macon, one of the oldest accredited law schools in the country. While at Mercer, Lauren served as president of the Federalist Society, leading conversations on law, liberty, and justice. She was also a member of the Association of Women Law Students. She was smart, motivated, and determined to leave her mark. And in May 2011, she did just that, graduating with her Juris Doctorate at 27 years old. It should have been the start of everything she worked for, a moment of celebration, of recognition. But just weeks after earning her law degree, Lauren's bright future was stolen. Her life cut short before she ever had the chance to change the world the way she'd always dreamed. Lauren's entire family traveled to Macon, Georgia to celebrate her law school graduation. They stayed with her at Barrister's Hall, an apartment complex conveniently located right across from Mercer University. Due to its location to the law school, this apartment complex is actually quite popular with law students attending the university. Lauren lived there alone with her beloved dog, Butterbean, so having her family around felt special. But during that visit, Lauren made an offhand comment that didn't seem like much at the time, but would later haunt her sister, Caitlin. Like any sister would, Caitlin was teasing Lauren for constantly losing things. Earlier that day, Lauren had been frantically searching for her car keys, only to find them later sitting near the front door. What she said next now feels chilling in hindsight. Maybe they were caught up in the sofa. I swear, stuff gets moved around in this apartment. No one thought much of it then, just Lauren being forgetful. But keep those words in mind. While they were in town, Lauren took her family to the Hummingbird Stage and Tap Room, a local live music bar downtown that she would often visit to introduce them to some of her classmates. There she spotted her classmate and next-door neighbor, fellow law student, 25-year-old Stephen Mark McDaniel, playing darts alone. Lauren was surprised to see him out. Stephen rarely left his apartment unless it was for class. She'd even told her sister once that she thought he was odd, but most people did. But Lauren, being who she always was, she went out of her way to be kind. She even joked once, "If he ever goes crazy, I'll be safe. I'm one of the few people he actually likes." Unfortunately, that kindness wouldn't protect her. Lauren's mom, Karen, recalls meeting Stephen when she was helping her daughter move in to Barrister's Hall in the spring of 2008. She recalls a thin, fragile-looking man coming down the stairs. Her daughter, Lauren, introduced her to Stephen. She found it odd that his windows and curtains were always closed. Even though Lauren had just graduated law school, she decided to stay in Macon for the summer to study for the Georgia bar exam, probably the most important test Lauren would ever have to take, so that she could then start her journey to becoming a defense attorney. She had attended her sister Caitlin's wedding just days before, so this was the time where she needed to focus on her studies. So when communication from her started to fade, no one thought much of it. Lauren even told her family she'd be busy studying and might go quiet for a while. She was so focused that she left Butterbean, her beloved dog and fur baby, with her parents so she could devote all her time to preparing. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until June 29th. Lauren's sister, Caitlin, got a text from one of Lauren's best friends, Katie, saying she hadn't heard from her and Lauren wasn't answering her calls. That's when Caitlin tried calling too, but it went straight to voicemail. Lauren was never the type to turn off her phone or let it die. Caitlin quickly checked in with her parents, who also hadn't heard from Lauren. Caitlin then reached out to another friend of Lauren's, Ashley, who last saw her at a bar days earlier, but days felt too long. Since Lauren's family lived out of state, they asked Ashley to use Lauren's spare key and check on her. What Ashley found was unsettling. Lauren's car was parked outside. Inside the apartment, her phone, wallet, and keys were all there, but Lauren wasn't. Panic hit. Lauren wouldn't just leave without those things. The family called the police. And here's another thing to note. When Ashley and her boyfriend arrived at Lauren's apartment to check in on her, her strange neighbor Stephen McDaniel heard them outside and joined them to walk through Lauren's apartment. But this wasn't normal behavior for Stephen. He wasn't one to be overly friendly or frequently stop by, but he assured Lauren's friends that he was also concerned and wanted to help. Officers arrived quickly, but didn't find any obvious signs of foul play. Still, Lauren's family and friends knew something was terribly wrong. Lauren didn't just disappear. Lauren's father got in the car and started the 12-hour drive to Macon, while her mother planned to fly down later in the day. Meanwhile, Caitlin called every nearby hospital. Nothing. The last known video footage ever taken of Lauren alive was when she was at a nearby Zaxby's fast food restaurant in Macon around 6 p.m. on June 25, 2011. Then came the news that shattered any shred of hope. Reports surfaced that police had found a body in a trash bin right behind Lauren's apartment. Deep down, Lauren's family knew. They knew it was her. What police discovered next was beyond devastating. It was pure evil. They confirmed to Lauren's family that only her torso had been recovered. Her head, limbs, and the rest of her body were still missing. Chillingly, Lauren was just days away from moving out of that apartment for good. But she never got the chance. Barrister's Hall quickly became the center of an intense investigation. Her apartment, the complex, every inch of shared space combed through for evidence. Police were actually tipped off where her torso was found because of a strong, potent smell coming from the trash bins. While we were standing there, the wind started to turn. Immediately, I smelled an odor that I was very familiar with. We all smell things in life that smelled bad, and that of a body or a decomposing body is one of the worst things you'll smell, but it has a very distinctive smell. While police stayed tight-lipped, a local reporter quietly shared with Lauren's family that luminol testing showed Lauren's entire bathroom, including the walls, floor, and bathtub, had once been filled with blood. Scrubbed clean, but not clean enough. Cadaver dogs also detected the scent of human remains in Lauren's apartment. This is when police knew they weren't investigating a missing persons case. This was an active homicide investigation. It didn't stop there. Investigators found a bloody sheet in the complex communal laundry room. DNA matched to Lauren. Even worse, a hacksaw with human blood and human flesh was discovered in the complex's maintenance room. Whoever did this had access not just to Lauren, but to the entire building, the entire complex. That's when police zeroed in on the most obvious place to start: Lauren's neighbors. Every single tenant agreed to let police search their apartments, all except one: Stephen McDaniel, the same classmate and next-door neighbor Lauren had told her family and friends about, the one she called odd. Stephen's unusual behavior didn't go unnoticed. Graduating from Parkview High School in Lilburn, Gwinnett County in 2004, former classmates described him as a loner and strange. Some even recalled seeing him wear an undershirt made of chainmail to class. His eccentricities followed him to law school, where he allegedly referred to himself as the Son of Liberty, and frequently sent his classmates lengthy emails outlining his conservative political views. In one email, he went so far as to accuse Barack Obama of being a communist. Despite his reputation as a loner, Stephen wasn't quiet in class. Classmates recalled how he often went off on tangents, pushing his opinions without concern for how they were received. You could tell he wasn't trying to befriend a lot of people, one classmate remarked. Though many saw him as arrogant and socially isolated, his parents, Glenda and Mark McDaniel, had a vastly different perspective. His mother once predicted that he would become a U.S. Supreme Court justice. He also served as vice president of the same Federalist Society chapter in which Lauren Giddings just so happened to serve as president. His downstairs neighbor, Evelyn Spencer, gave this account. Spencer said that during the 3.5 years she and her son had lived there, she occasionally heard McDaniel, who lived there most of that time, run from one room to another, and ooh, he could curse. My goodness. Spencer said he drove a dark blue import, perhaps a Subaru, with a Pray bumper sticker on the back. She said she sometimes heard him playing what sounded like a video game. He'd be up there cursing, "Go ahead, you SB," talking to the game. She could recall just one conversation with McDaniel, a recent one, during their time as neighbors. She said a few weeks back, he told her about a cat that had 5 kittens in the bushes nearby. He was just sitting there, looking in all the weeds, Spencer said. She said she never saw any friends, no women or men, visit him. Stephen refusing a search wasn't the only red flag. Around this time, a local news crew caught up with Stephen outside the complex. What happened next is haunting. The reporter casually asked Stephen about Lauren's disappearance. At first, he was awkward, rambling, monotone, trying to act like a concerned friend of Lauren's. Yes, they were in the same law class and graduated together, but they weren't friends. But then the reporter mentioned that a body had just been found. The first person to tell him that a body was found, not specifically mentioning that it may be Lauren's. In that moment, everything changed. Stephen's face went pale, his eyes darted, and it was like you could physically see the life drain out of him. His demeanor flipped instantly. One second, he was calmly talking. The next, it was as if he couldn't breathe. The clip has since gone viral, shared millions of times. And here's the heartbreaking part. When people think of Lauren's case, they often think of this video. Stephen's haunting reaction, his name, his face, Lauren's memory. Sadly an afterthought. But as chilling as this moment is, there's no denying it was a turning point. That interview, the way his mask slipped, helped crack the case. His reaction was so bizarre, so incriminating, that it immediately placed a spotlight right where it needed to be, on Stephen McDaniel. It's clear Stephen McDaniel wasn't cut out for pretending. Whatever act he tried to put on, it faded fast. I'll let you watch the moment for yourself, because no words can truly capture just how eerie this interview is. It truly is one of the most haunting clips in true crime history.
No one had seen her since Saturday because there's not a whole lot of interaction unless we're doing classes.
Right.
And she was doing the online version of it.
You all studied together though?
We were in, there's two different people, there's two companies that provide it. Kaplan provides it and Barbary provides it. I signed up with Barbary and I've been doing the lectures that they have in the mornings. She was doing the Kaplan online, so I hardly ever saw her. I would see her go out running, but
What time would she go out running?
I don't even know when.
At night or morning?
I saw her like midday a couple weeks ago. I mean, that was the last time I saw her, was coming back from the bar prep on the main campus, because we got moved over there for a week or two.
But she normally would run. That was the routine that
she had. She ran all the time. I mean, she had a group that she would go running with. I mean, I don't know anyone that would want to hurt her. She was as nice a person as there is.
Was she moving soon? Did you know anything about her?
Yeah. She was going to be moving out today. She was supposed to move out today because someone else was going to be moving into her apartment, the new law student.
Do you know if she was like, where is she from? Is she from Maryland?
Yeah, she's from up in Maryland.
I'll just put this on you so we can hear you. Is that all right?
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Here, and you can just hold on to that. Thank you. Yeah, she's from Maryland.
Yeah, I mean, she was from up in Maryland. I mean, all her family was there, as far as I know. I mean,
What's going on in your mind right now? Like, what are you thinking?
Why would anyone do this?
She didn't hear anything?
No. I just heard something. Maybe I could have helped.
Okay, don't worry. Do you want to sit down for a second? Get something to drink? Do you know if a bunch of her friends are getting together or anything?
That's how I found out that she was missing. A bunch of her friends came over yesterday night around midnight, and they hadn't seen her since Saturday, so they were trying to find out where she was.
So they were knocking on neighbors' doors and stuff?
They went in, they had a key to her apartment, and they checked around, didn't see anything out of place. I mean, it was locked when everyone got there.
That was midnight?
Yeah, around midnight, and then we went over to law school to see if maybe she was over in the library studying or something. And we looked up in the study rooms on the third floor, and there was no one there. And we came back, we looked around, and just tried to find anything to figure out where she was. Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I mean, the last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
Did you see her hang out with anyone at the time, anything like that?
I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I haven't seen anything. I mean, you always hear noise outside, but it's just people walking by pretty much.
And she just recently graduated from Mercer?
Yeah, she and I were both JD students. We graduated back in May.
What kind of person was she? I mean, what did you see?
I mean, she's as nice as can be. I mean, very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, I mean, we don't know where she is. I mean, the only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. Because, I mean, we went over, one of her friends had a key, we went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but I mean, she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. I mean, the door was locked when everyone got here. I mean, we just don't know where she is.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's how we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
After watching that now infamous interview and declining to have his apartment searched, police brought Stephen in for questioning while simultaneously executing a search of his unit. What they found inside was damning. Tucked away in Stephen's apartment was a pair of Lauren's underwear, an item that could have only gotten there one way, They also discovered the exact packaging for the hacksaw found covered in blood in the complex's maintenance room. But perhaps the most disturbing discovery, a stolen master key, one that gave Stephen access to every single apartment in the building, including Lauren's. And suddenly, Lauren's offhand comment to her sister about feeling like belongings had been moved around took on a far more sinister meaning. What if she wasn't just forgetful? What if Stephen had been inside her apartment in the days leading up to her death, testing the waters, moving things, watching her, waiting? And that's not all. Supposedly, Lauren had the sense that someone was watching her. She reportedly emailed her boyfriend the night before her death, telling him that she had thought someone had recently tried to break into her apartment, only reason why Lauren was in a rush to move out that week. But the horror didn't stop there. Stephen had several weapons in his apartment, like a huge samurai-type sword, large knives, a semi-automatic rifle, and a pair of handguns. On Stephen's computer, police uncovered even more incriminating and deeply disturbing evidence. Video footage he'd taken from outside Lauren's window the night she was killed, filming her, watching her, stalking her, a peeping Tom turned predator, and the final nail in the coffin that this crime was definitely premeditated. Was this how it all started? Voyeurism escalating into something much darker? According to Bibb County District Attorney David Cook, we found deleted video he had used to survey her home. He took a wooden pole and had duct tape or somehow fixed that camera to the end of the pole and then held the pole up really high to peek inside her window. His computer search history also revealed that he looked up Lauren's social media pages and was searching up violent pornography. Police also found several flash drives at Stephen's apartment that contained pornographic images of children. And just like in Lauren's apartment, cadaver dogs also detected the scent of human remains in the bedroom and bathroom of Stephen's apartment as well. Stephen's interrogation with police lasted over 12 hours. While he was being questioned, Stephen even admitted to breaking into 2 neighboring apartments and stealing condoms months earlier.
Out back to her apartment.
I don't know.
Well, you know there was a body found in the trash can next to the apartments.
Yes.
You do know that. And it's a female, white female's body. Right there. Right next to y'all's apartment. Feet within from her apartment. I mean, we don't know 100% sure it's Lauren, but we're pretty confident it is. We're waiting for some.
Also, during the interrogation, a detective noticed a red mark on the left side of Stephen's face. The detective then was asked to show officers if he had any other marks on his body, and when he lifted his shirt, he revealed what appeared to be 2 fresh scratch marks on the right side of his stomach, which appeared to be fingernail marks. The evidence against him was overwhelming, even without finding the rest of Lauren's body. Soon after, Stephen McDaniel was arrested and taken to the Bibb County Jail. There, he was officially charged with her murder. He also initially faced burglary and sexual exploitation charges, but those charges would be dismissed in exchange for his plea. He would initially plead not guilty, but just a week before his trial was set to begin in April 2014, Stephen confessed to murdering and dismembering Lauren Giddings. He ended up accepting a plea deal and pleaded guilty to murder. In exchange for his confession, Stephen was allowed to receive a life sentence and avoid the death penalty. The case took a turn for the worse for McDaniel when the computer evidence started coming out, and it just kept coming. Frank Hogue, Stephen's attorney, said they were continuing to find more and more evidence related to his computer and camera, and finally, he agreed that was enough to get a conviction. In court, Stephen admitted to the monstrous crimes he had committed, revealing the final moments of Lauren Giddings' life, the last moments he stole from her. Stephen recounted that around 4:30 a.m. on June 26, 2011, he used the stolen master key to break into Lauren's apartment. Wearing gloves and a mask, he crept in while she was sleeping, unaware of his presence. At first, Stephen claimed it was just voyeurism, but when Lauren woke up, things quickly escalated. He said that as soon as Lauren awoke, he lunged across the bed, grabbed her by the throat, and jumped on top of her. In that moment, Lauren pulled off his mask, recognized him, and screamed for him to get off. Stephen admitted he strangled Lauren for about 15 minutes until she stopped moving. He then dragged her body to the bathtub and began dismembering it. He dumped her head and limbs in trash bags, which he placed in a random dumpster on campus, discarding her like she was just garbage, not even a human being. Stephen had also admitted to using the stolen master key to access the apartment below him, which was empty at the time of his neighbor's murder, to store and refrigerate Lauren's dismembered torso before he could dispose of it. Investigators later admitted that they found a disturbing posting on an internet message believed to be posted by Stephen, who identified himself as Soul, or Son of Liberty. Graduate from law school. Party hard by drinking alone in front of my computer. See my sexy neighbor / classmate come home late. Invite her up for a nightcap. Make her a special drink called a Mickey Finn, a drink designed to knock someone unconscious. She's out cold. I finally lose my V card. Oh no, she OD'd and died. I barbecue her legs and arms to celebrate losing my V card, not into organ meat, but throw her torso out, lose it on TV while the cops are discovering her remains. You mad virgins. That post is definitely horrific and disturbing to say the least. This is what Lauren's sister Caitlin had to say about Stephen.
It seemed like she might have been one of the people that was actually nice to him and gave him like some attention, even though he seemed to be more of a loner. So it's, sad to think like, there's no story here about like, tell your kids to, lock their car when they get in, or, don't go in this area of town, or do, like, there's no, she should have done this and it wouldn't have happened, because, you should always be nice to people. You should always, be nice to your neighbors, and just because someone looks different doesn't mean they are. But in this case, he just was.
Police had managed to prevent garbage collectors from accessing the bin at her apartment complex, but unfortunately, the same precaution wasn't taken at the campus dumpster. To this day, the rest of Lauren's body has never been found. In court, Stephen couldn't provide a clear explanation for why he killed Lauren, but he did admit that she had always been kind to him. It's difficult for me to explain why I killed Lauren. I am not without morals or decency, he said. Was Stephen obsessed with Lauren? Did he have a crush on her? Was she simply the only person who had ever been nice to him, and he took advantage of her kindness? We may never truly understand why, but one thing is clear. On that day, Stephen acted like a monster. Even Judge Howard Sims stated that Stephen was truly evil. Before sentencing, Lauren's parents read a statement saying, "He tried to extinguish Lauren's light with his darkness. He did not come close." A friend of Lauren's also read her own statement, telling Stephen that he was the devil. Since his arrest, Stephen's family has remained tight-lipped, an unsurprising stance, given that both of his parents are lawyers. Lauren's parents, William and Karen, filed a lawsuit against Stephen McDaniel in federal court, asserting that their daughter's killer had been planning her murder since at least the beginning of fall 2007. They sought punitive damages for wrongful death, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and unlawful interference with the right of burial. Their complaint detailed how Stephen meticulously plotted what he considered the perfect murder. He allegedly shared these sinister plans with his college roommate, boasting about how he would kill someone and evade capture. Among his chilling statements, he described how he would dismember the victim and scatter the body parts in the woods, ensuring they would never be found. He was confident that he would never be caught. In the same conversation, Stephen disclosed his intention to use chloroform to subdue his victim, relishing the idea of exerting total power and dominance over them. He expressed a disturbing fascination with the concept of holding a fragile life in his hands, reducing the process to nothing more than finding the perfect victim. According to the Giddings family, that victim became Lauren. Their complaint states that Stephen began putting his horrific plan into motion in June 2011, meticulously choosing his target and refining the logistics of his crime. It was during this time that he purchased a brand new Stanley hacksaw and the necessary chemicals to create chloroform. Unbeknownst to Lauren Giddings, McDaniels pursued his long-held and depraved motive to dominate and kill another human being, making careful preparations to subdue, murder, and dismember Lauren Giddings. He then sought to conceal the evidence so that he would not be caught. His plan went even further than initially believed. On Father's Day weekend in 2011, Stephen reportedly traveled to a 63-acre plot of wooded land owned by his grandfather in Pike County, west of Macon. He deliberately surveyed the area, scouting for secluded locations where he could scatter body parts in accordance with his murder blueprint. Surveillance footage from June 23, 2011 captured Stephen at a Walmart inspecting boat anchors, a peculiar purchase for someone who did not own a boat. Investigators theorized that he was considering the anchors as a means to weigh down and submerge body parts, adding another disturbing layer of calculation to his already methodical plan. During this Walmart trip, Stephen also purchased plastic hooded ponchos and rope, sorta assembling that one scene in American Psycho. Lauren's parents had this to say about Stephen. Consistent with his perverse hope to get away with the perfect murder, McDaniel refuses to confess, refuses to provide any details concerning where he disposed of the dismembered parts of the body of Lauren Giddings, and displays no conscience and remorse whatsoever. He has committed a craven, criminal, and horrendous act, depriving a vibrant young woman of her promising life and depriving her parents of the joy and companionship of the rest of her life. Stephen Mark Daniel was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. He's not eligible for parole until 2041, but for Lauren's family, they hold on to one hope: that this monster will never see the outside of a prison cell, hoping that Lauren's killer will never walk free. Prosecuting attorney David Cook believes Stephen will likely spend the rest of his life in prison. However, while Lauren's story may have often been overshadowed by the eerie footage of Stephen's interview, her family made sure her legacy lived on. In 2017, Lauren's family established the Lauren Teresa Giddings Scholarship Fund to support students who are the first in their families to attend college, just like Lauren was. In 2018, Stephen's father, Mark Daniel, started a GoFundMe campaign to raise funds for legal expenses to help his son with an appeal. However, the campaign quickly faced heavy controversy, leading to the GoFundMe page being taken down. Undeterred, Stephen decided to represent himself in his legal battles, arguing that he needed a retrial. Stephen alleged that a habeas corpus was filed on McDaniel's behalf in 2018, alleging that his 4th, 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights were violated, so an habeas corpus was filed on his behalf as a way to challenge the legality of his sentencing and seek release from unlawful imprisonment. We simply want Stephen to receive a fair and impartial hearing so that the truth will come out. He claimed his constitutional rights were violated, stating that he was not medically cleared before giving consent for searches and that he was in a catatonic state. His legal research was intercepted by the district attorney, and his attorneys did not provide adequate representation. He also filed a malpractice complaint against his former attorney and said that he had ineffective counsel. Despite his efforts, the Richmond County judge denied his appeal and request for a new trial. Then, in 2022, Stephen filed another habeas corpus petition, requesting that his conviction be overturned and that he be released from prison. This new appeal was filed in the Supreme Court of Georgia and the U.S. Supreme Court. He argued that documents crucial to his defense were stolen by the district attorney during his trial preparations. He was requesting that the court vacate his conviction and plea, free him and bar him from facing any other prosecution in regards to Lauren's death. Unfortunately for Stephen, his petition was denied. Stephen remains behind bars at Hancock State Prison in Hancock County, Georgia, serving his sentence. Despite his attempts to overturn his conviction, it seems that the justice for Lauren Giddings will continue to stand, ensuring that this monstrous act will never be forgotten, and that this monster won't be freed anytime soon. Both Lauren's sisters, Caitlin and Sarah, have kids of their own and continue to share memories of Aunt Lauren with them. Caitlin actually went on to have 5 children with her husband, and their eldest daughter was named Lauren, ensuring that her sister's memory would always be alive. The family also continues to honor Lauren's memory by celebrating her birthday and hosting annual runs and softball tournaments, things that Lauren loved. The Macon Bibb community also hasn't forgotten about Lauren. There's a plaque hanging at Mercer Law School honoring the law school grad, as well as a pink bench that was created at Washington Park to not only honor her legacy, but to remind the community the type of person Lauren was, someone who wanted to make the world a better place. She had this passion for life that a lot of people don't have. I think she lived more in those 27 years than most people do, says Caitlin. To this day, Mercer Law School hosts a 5K every year honoring Lauren's memory and her love and passion for law. Money raised through the race goes to the Lauren Giddings Scholarship Fund to cover bar exam expenses for one law student. It's been almost 15 years since Lauren lost her life that fateful day at the hands of someone who she was always nice to, but that doesn't erase the loss. She would be in her 40s today. It's impossible not to wonder where Lauren would be today. Would she have become a fierce defense attorney, a loving wife, a mother? One thing is certain. She was the whole package. Beauty, brains, kindness. She radiated positivity, and she was deeply undeniably loved. Lauren had a bright future ahead of her, one full of promise, passion, and the potential to make a real difference in the world, but she never got the chance to live out that future, taken too soon by someone she never saw as a threat. She was kind to everyone, never knowing that her own nightmare lived just next door. You never truly know who or what is lurking in the shadows, watching, waiting, studying your every move. By all accounts, Lauren was incredibly smart. Her instincts told her something wasn't right. She felt eyes on her when no one was there. She suspected someone had been coming in and out of her apartment, and she had a gut feeling that her neighbor, the man who would ultimately take her life, wasn't quite who he seemed. She was weary of him, but still, she chose to be kind. Maybe she thought her kindness could make a difference. Maybe it wouldn't go unnoticed. And yet, she was killed. A bright light full of promise and future, dedicated to helping others, gone in an instant. Luckily, her killer wasn't as clever as he thought. Luckily, he was caught before he could hurt anyone else. And luckily, he will never likely see freedom again. We never know when we'll take our last breath, but if Lauren's story serves as a reminder of anything, let it be this: live boldly, chase your dreams, take risks, and above all else, practice kindness. This has been Joshua John with Behind the Headlines, and until next time, stay safe.